Hi again, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm Tina with To the Inner Wilds. Now, this is part B of medicinal healing. I'm sorry, vibrational healing, which is, it's still medicine. It's still medicine for the soul, for a soul path. So, here we go again. Okay, so I found this little excerpt here that I thought might be a little bit more structured and to the point in advising you where we're going from here, okay? This is like visiting stopping by the visitor's booth at like the fair or some large scale event, okay? Open to the public, right? So let's see here. Okay, so okay. The vibrational medicine cards and readings themselves, they are a mirror. They reflect who you are, where you've come from, and your direction for the future. The difference is that for this part B, the medicinal path, you get a larger perspective on your life through the use of these cards. Again, this is what we received from Spirit and our spirit guides. So we thank them after, yes? Number 54, awareness. All right, so where are we at, Spirit? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holographic receptivity on the horizontal plane. Okay, holographic receptivity. This path can guide you to an awareness of how the sources of nature and culture are the results of the projection of intent. OMG. We were talking about that. Weren't we just talking about it? We were. Okay. Now, this is a really great reminder because I've summoned your spirit guides. And that can consist of angels and spirit animals and your ancestors, star families, recently passed on loved ones, and just make sure that you thank them, and that if you don't already have a relationship, like an active relationship with them, you don't have to wait around until a crisis occurs. You don't have to do that. It's best to go ahead and start now. And I remember, a very spiritual person when I was growing up said this to me, and I was basically a kid, right? Like a sophomore in high school, and at that time I was very, very pure, naive, and all of that. But I do remember him saying that, and he was like one of the counselors of a spiritual group, right? A religious group. And I was like, oh yeah, that's nice. That's a nice thought. And then I carried on in my own ways, right? And then here I am, like 20 years later, and I'm like, oh, that's what he meant. And Spirit knows this, right? And our guides know this. That, it would be nice to acknowledge them and not have them wait for so long to get a hi, hello, thank you for your presence here. I may not see what you're doing, but in time I will see it. And, just wanted to start it off, shake hands, that kind of thing. So, anyway, and you can always ask for their help, right? Okay, so you can then see yourself as a holographic image within the projection. Look at the universe as a model of wholes within the whole, and see how seed ideas become images and how images work within dimensional laws. Be aware of ethical considerations when bringing your creative project down into detailed drawings and plans. Yes. Oh my gosh, this just triggered me. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this. Okay. Conflicts in any area of life can pollute the whole image. Rectify problems by being receptive to the holographic model. I was just thinking about Elon Musk and however great and wondrous his mind is and the integration of his works are. If you really look at his company culture, how he projects himself in his personal life as well as his professional life to his staff, like he's one of the worst people to work for. And even though there's an even exchange, like an agreement from his workers to accept that kind of disposition, unethical behavior that I can see. I understand that with the technology that he is making more accessible on a global scale, that it has great possibilities for not just expansion, but there's a sense of idealism behind it. But if that's not integrated within, if we proceed in the same manner of feeding such manipulated filth on a global span, what good does that do? In fact, that would create more segregation, more separation, right? Between, like, because we all believe in different things, but the basis, the underlying, the common, there's a common thread to it. But we get caught up in the pettiness of, like, you know, who's better, and, you know, placing ourselves, comparing ourselves with a lack mindset, integrated and therefore expelling to the rest of the universe, that it just doesn't do us any good. Accessibility, convenience does not do us any better, right? It doesn't put us in a better state. So if someone that is that shows a corrupt nature of unethical behavior within their personal life, within even their professional life and how they conduct business and with their staff, the people that they rely on, my goodness, like, what does that mean for our future, right? So back to here. Be aware of ethical considerations when bringing your creative project down into detailed drawings and plans. So I feel like there's a huge responsibility, not just by Elon, but by others that cross his path, to kind of keep it in alignment for projected growth. Like, but growth of what, right? What substance, right? So anyway, conflicts in any area of life can pollute the whole image. Rectify problems by being receptive to the holographic model, the macrocosm, yes? Okay, so then we look at the old earth essence medicine path. And we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, destiny lineage. Okay, this path guides your practice of spiritual receptivity, evolutionary memory, and karmic acceptance. As you open yourself to the full potential of universal life by means of intuition, you can be aware of your ancestry back through your parents to the whole evolutionary lineage you've developed over various incarnations. Yes! You know, when you see, like, past life stuff, you know, it may be hard for you to accept the idea of incarnation if it's not within your indoctrined, like, belief system, right? But if you think of energy as, like, recycling, like, if you look at plants, like how the seeds grow, like, things like fruit rots, and then it still becomes part of the energy that sources the next bloom, right? The next like, within its own, like, seeds to grow anew, right? It's a cycle of life, right? So however hardlined your belief system is in that, think about your relationships here and there, like between who your exes are and what your current relationship is. Like, your exes can be considered as past lives. You've progressed from them, correct? For a certain reason. My dogs are barking, I'm sorry. There's always a sign to that, you know? See, you hear the disturbance, you understand that, right? You understand what kind of noise and distraction and annoyance and frustration that brings to you, right? It affects the communication, like your give and take to other interactions, right? It's in the background, right? Or in the forefront, right? So what I'm saying is the progression, right? The development of self, right? Okay. And the ways that you've progressed from, right? Um, so it's not to say that your ancestors were worse off than you are, as far as their ways, that, you know, their ways were worse than yours. We've just evolved into a different state of being, but with more distractions. And what the world is looking for us to do now is forced us to simplify and sit down and, you know, actually ruminate over what we have so we can filter out and sort through, right? Do our proper spring cleaning, move along with the seasons, the ebbs and flows, right? So it's asking us to revisit the past in that manner, right? As a form of educational tools to resource, right? Okay, so part of the practice of being aware of your destiny is accepting the exact ancestry, environment, and circumstance in which you find yourself. Yeah, you have the perfect context to fulfill your spiritual potential in this life. How cool is that? That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Now we're looking at the existence. That was the essence. Now we're looking at the existence axis of the medicinal path. And that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Media revolution. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. I love it. How this ties in. I haven't worked. I've worked with these cards before, but I have never received this card. So you know, it's kind of cool how it plays out. Okay, you can now be aware of the influence of society on the individual and vice versa. You can learn about different cultures and see how the will and awareness of certain powerful individuals change the current of history. Be the inertia of traditions is, I'm sorry, but the inertia of traditions is great. Yes. Witness the uniformity resulting from mass production and see how technologies can be used by people rather than people used by technologies. Have a mind of your own, right? Mind over matter. You can now be aware of how individuals express, how individual expression is limited and conditioned by how others think, by habits, advertising, politics, and mass media. Sorry, I have been sensing a lot of this and in the readings, a lot of this just bubbles up inside of me, and it's not through the exposure of what other people have told me, because I'm seeing that now arise in YouTube, but I got it earlier, and I was very scared. I retreated in conveying it, and in a sense, I did worry about what you guys thought, and even though I felt it to be true. And I'm not saying I'm special, I stand above the rest or anything. I'm just saying that I know we have our own individual experiences, and we don't, the people that are observing this, that are in awareness of this, are either speaking or retreating, or in between, like me. I'm in limbo until I actually go through the motions, and I'm like, oh, what? Not just aha, but or ooh, ah. It's like, oh my gosh. Sorry, all of these automatopoeias, right? This can lead you to seeing how to revolutionize society by its own methods in a direction of wholeness. Someone get a hold of Elon Musk. We need good people to work with, the people that need realignment and creative depth. Okay, so we're now at the vertical medicinal path. So what I'm thinking when they say vertical now is we're looking more in alignment with spirit and heavens to earth, as above, so below. That's what I'm this is like my 4th or 5th time working with these cards, and now I'm kind of realizing, because there's no real explanation here on the fractions of medicinal paths, but now I think I'm understanding it. Horizontal would be like community based, what's in our common surroundings, our familiar surroundings, and then vertical is, you know, the alignment, like as the pyramid would dictate our connection with the divine. Let's see if that falls true. Okay, so we are creative depth psychology. This path can guide you to face your own shadows and blind spots and use clarity of thought to become aware of things you may have denied. Oh my gosh, I just did a full moon read, of course, last night, and the moon of Capricorn, and then I edited a video that I did like almost a month before that, not realizing there was a moon in Capricorn, full moon in Capricorn, until like after I edited it, which was just earlier today. And then here we are talking about the same content, which was about finding something that was lost and kind of breathing life back into it again, like reviving it. And that kind of triggered me as far as gosh, facing your own shadows, like doing your shadow work, looking within, right? And understanding the blind spots and using the clarity of thought to become aware of things you may have denied. And when I think of that, I think of like what you've lost over time, like something that you lost over time, something or someone. But in an essence of, like, when we usually lose a big part of ourselves, we tend to deny that part of ourselves from surfacing. When you think about the inner child, you know, our soul desires, or, you know, our very being, we've been like so battered by society in a certain way that's like over the course of the time, over the course of, you know, many years that preceded us, as well as what we've grown through, or like kind of like moved along with, like almost like, you know, you're standing on a beach, right? And the waves crash over, right? And they kind of like move you, they kind of shift you, but you feel like you're still in the same spot, but yet like the sands of time and water have, you know, the waves have shifted you, and you're not in the same place as where you once stood, right? So it's kind of, how was I comparing it to that? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought, but yeah, kind of like it's so easy to lose over time, like that progression of like manipulation, like it becomes like a like status quo, almost like you accept it. In accepting that untruth, you're denying yourself, right? For your inner truth, right? So, oh my goodness, okay. So this will empower you to be a guide to others in doing the same. Yes, doing your shadow work, be aware of the blind spots and bring clarity, shine light to those situations, right? As you come into your own integration of mind, soul, and body, you will open great avenues for creativity. You might either be counseled in matters of the psyche or counsel others. As you become a governor of your own life, there will be true freedom, which comes only by taking complete responsibility of your life. How cool is that? You know, if this really does mean, like the vertical plane, if it does mean union with the divine, you think about the divine in yourself, right? You hold power, you hold great responsibility, you have your free will, and you can exercise that however you like, right? Now, whether that lands you behind, you know, bars of a jail, you can tell how, like, almost, like, I guess pure I am. Like, I don't know the verbiage that is used for, like, jailbirds. Like, you can tell that there's a little jagged way of defining what I mean when it comes to that realm. Whether it lands you behind Jer bar cells, you know what I mean. Okay, so now, oh, okay, planes between. Thanks for being patient with me. Thanks for being patient with me. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to end that here for now. And thank you. Thank you, Spirit Guides of the collective whole of all prospective viewers. This is a timeless reading because at any given time, I'm sure we'd like to heal. Take an opportunity to stop and heal. Whatever the case may be, I actually really do believe in all of this. And otherwise I wouldn't be doing so, or, you know, being an object of ridicule for others, possibly. I don't know what's out there, you know. I just know that if it helps me, and I believe that it can help others, and I'm going to comply, right? I'm motion, so I got the 5:55 on my clock, literally, right when I held the phone to click the button to start. It's 5:55. I have yet to look that up because I wanted to progress, but thanks for joining me. Thanks for taking a moment to breathe, to just resituate, recalibrate, and come in with the intention to improve, right? To self-improve. Before, let me tell you a little thing here, okay? Back when I was like in high school or whatever, when I think like there's MySpace still alive, or I forget what the other, Friendster? I don't know. But it wasn't as popular as Facebook, let's say, okay? There was a time of like, oh, what kind of books do you like to read? You know, that kind of question isn't thrown about so often nowadays. But, you know, mine was like, at that time, self-help books. And that's what I would say. And people are like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I want to cuss so badly. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I remember. Like, being a young adult, or, you know, becoming a young adult, what society was like back then and how it progressed from there to here. And, you know, and it's still my favorite genre. My main thing was self-help books. I really did, if anything was to engross me, it was that topic. Other than gemstones and crystals, which is kind of crazy because I came back full circle. Like, I'm back at it again. And it was really nice to be able to have that, like, introductory phase when I was, you know, in elementary school. But anyway, I'm just saying that I believe in this enough to speak it, to share it. And when I say, you know, there may be a possibility of ridicule and you know, poking around, prodding, and this and that. I'm an adult now, you know, and I'm twice the age of I'm an adult times 2 now, as far as years. And so, what have I got to be afraid of? Like, that truth was the same as 20 years ago, right? And as bad as I felt from what other people had to say, like, I grew, I elevated. Yes, it provided clarity. I'm providing clarity to you guys now. So, to you souls, not just guys. We're talking about androgynous energy here. So, thank you very much for joining and, you know, adding some time to the collective whole. All right. Well, thank you, Spirit Guides. Thank you, Spirit, for moderating. And, hopefully I'll see you guys again. If you like this message and want it to reach others through the ripple effect of algorithms through YouTube, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notifications button so you know when the next one's up. Comment, of course. Comment is, you know, Hercules, Hercules. I will always give praise to you guys for that. Anyway, have a good one. I'll see you later.